And we were in the car talking about it. And then I said, I said to you, I just realized I'm never going to have that food again. And we started laughing. Do you remember that?
I do. And I was like, man, it was so good. My name is Zahra Noorbakhsh, and I am guest hosting this special episode of Spice Cabinet.
Yes. I've been waiting for this to happen.
That voice you hear is Phil Surkis.
It's me.
Should we talk about why this episode came to fruition?
Yes.
Is because it was my idea.
It was Zahra's idea.
And I said, you need an episode where you get interviewed about your Spice Cabinet.
Oh, that's the truth. She's always trying to get me to talk.
It's true.
And I don't want to talk because I sound like a slurry drunk man.
But you're so good at it.
If you say so.
You're a great storyteller, Phil.
Thank you. What you can't see is I'm fading. I'm almost translucent right now because
Blushing
because it's hard to take a compliment.
He says as he grips his chair. Okay, I want to dive into this. First, tell us a little bit about the construction of your setting.
Oh my God, this is so Zahra. This is so beautiful. Well, we're sitting in my kitchen here in West Oakland. The construction of my setting. We're sitting in my townhome in front of my spice cabinet with 2 microphones, a Zoom recorder. We're on chairs. I set the lighting so it's kind of nice because that's important to me. And
your place has ridiculously good lighting.
Oh, why? Thank you. Well, I'll thank the contractors.
But no, you have like a smooth like mood in here. Like when you come in, it's just like jazzy, even though there's no music playing.
Thanks. It's because I'm a highly sensitive person and I need the lighting to be just right. I do. You have to be drinking just the right tea, which aren't you right now drinking just the right tea?
Raspberry, how did you know?
I just knew. I'm sensitive. I'm a sensitive guy. Except when it comes to my spice cabinet, which is just a mess.
This is the other reason that is so Zahra that I wanted to interview you so hard.
Yes.
Because as you know, full disclosure, Phil was my student for a solo performance workshop class.
Truth.
And one of my favorite things to do to my students is find a bruise and poke.
My spice cabinet is riddled with bruises, but or maybe I don't know. She knows.
So this kitchen is like a chef's dream kitchen, right?
Like if the thing was on the market, chef's kitchen.
Oh, I didn't know that's like a whole genre of kitchen.
Well, it's what they put in, like if you're going to buy a home or if even you're going to rent a place, it's a thing they put in there like radiant heat, chef's kitchen.
Do you have
LED lighting?
Do you have a farmhouse sink?
I just missed the boat on that. I just missed the boat on farm. I wish because they make them for just suckers like me.
I learned this because I stayed at your place for like almost a month.
It's true.
It was pretty fabulous. The
Till
stove
the hot water
top
broke.
till the hot water broke. That's right. The hot water broke. That was an adventure. Your stovetop heats up to like some crazy degree. Like you could cook humans in it.
Yeah, it's hot. It's
you could cook humans in a pot on the stove or in the oven.
Yeah, it's a highfalutin chef stove. Not my choice.
And I remember when I was first talking to you about Spice Cabinet, you were like, "Oh, every now and then I will come to a spice, not yours, but from a previous relationship."
Yes.
And you were sad, and I was like, "That's juicy shit."
If anyone's listening to this and then decides to Google my name, they will find thousands of pictures of me and my ex-wife on the internet. And it's no secret. It's less of a secret than like she's a chef who has a high profile. Okay, and so like the spice. So like I have 8 years as a restaurateur and food and spices and so much stuff, and that was my life. Until I met Zahra, and she said, "You need to get on stage and start talking." No, that's not quite how it happened.
Yeah, where were you in performance when I met you? You were starting to perform.
I did take a class with Lisa Marie Rollins, mutual friend, and I was blown away of how wonderful it was to write and perform.
Yes.
I think this was at the end of 2013.
She was also director of my show.
She's wonderful, and I hope she subscribes to Spice Cabinet.
Subscribe, Lisa Marie.
And so it's one of those things. So I started performing. And I've only been doing this for like 3.5 years. but it was coming at the end of my time in restaurants, which ended because of divorce. And I've said this. I've said this on stage. If you're going to marry someone and start a restaurant with them, divorce is just built in. It's something that has to happen.
You've had like 3 big phases in your life because you have like the period of your life where you were a musician.
You know, and music has always been there my whole life. Is it a big phase? I don't know if it's a phase as much as a thread that's so thick. It's a rope.
Oh, yeah. It's not really a segment. It's like a part of who you are.
Yeah, it's a part of who I am.
I guess I always think of it as like these 3 separate things because when you think of like the artist's life, then those are like 3 big ones.
Yeah.
It's like the chef's life, the performer life, the musician life, and you have all 3 of them in this spice cabinet. Okay, so let's dive in. Can I reach into your cabinet?
You can, please. I'll add some kind of sound effect to signify Zahra reaching in. Oh, she's just pulling stuff. Oh my God, my heart is pounding.
Turmeric, I love turmeric. We've got herbs to Provence.
Herbs de Provence. There's a little story behind that I got all excited at your parents' house because you had that. You gave me the tremendous popcorn recipe.
And then you shake it. You shake it, pop, shake, right. Pop.
I was going to make this and I was like, I don't even have any of this spice. And I had purchased this spice like, I don't know, a year ago from the Oaktown Spice Company shop.
Who's going to be sponsoring this podcast.
If I can ever remember their name correctly. When I was a child, I really liked to experiment in cooking more so than the rest of my family. And so and then when I married a chef, like all of that stopped because there was someone there who would say, no, I have it. The kitchen is my domain.
Oh, so interesting.
And so then I was back in a spice shop, like looking for something, not really knowing. I don't know. I think of myself as not knowing much about anything, but I put an effort in and I kind of wing it. And so I got some spices, and that was one of the spices I got. I smelled it and was like, yeah, I'll do something with this.
So like you kind of had to rebuild your whole like spice profile. Like, who am I and what do I like? I
lost all the spices in the divorce. I'm not saying they were...
Did you really?
Did I really? Oh, I'm going to say... I'm going to say, like, this kitchen could not have been stripped more to the...
Who took the cayenne?
I didn't have anything. I started from scratch.
Where's the sauce?
The sauce, that sauce is long gone. Where's the...
I'm holding here Jamaican allspice. Was this a purchase of your like recuperating?
Yeah, it was like some of the flavors that I had grown accustomed to in the marriage. Sometimes you don't even want it. You want to start really, really fresh. But sometimes like a spice is a good spice and you want to use it.
You really introduced me to great barbecue. That smells so good.
Can I smell that?
Yeah, it's your spice.
Oh my gosh, it smells very clovey. I'm holding Jamaican allspice from Oaktown Spice Shop, and that's the correct name. So will you please sponsor me? I've tweeted to them, and like I got silence. I'm like, I live in Oakland. It's a podcast about spices.
You know what I do when somebody's not responsive?
What?
And I know that we're going to be really good friends. I just go to their house. So I think you should just go to their house.
I think I should too, because Oakland is that kind of town.
Yeah. And just be like, knock, knock, knock.
Knock, knock, knock. It's me.
I poked you on Twitter, but guess what? We're in the same city and I found you.
Yeah. It's a small town.
Be my friend.
Be my friend. It's a small ass town. You cannot get away from no one.
Small ass town is a really good name for a spice business.
I like it. Small ass town.
Okay, so this Jamaican allspice has... let's see, pepper, pimento, myrtle pepper, pimenta, new spice. I didn't even know about any of these as a spice. I didn't know about pimento as a spice.
I didn't know about pimento as a spice. This is a learning spice podcast for me. I'm learning about spices too. It's not like a Mr. Pro Spice.
What was the hardest thing about going through your spice cabinet? Like that it was stripped bare?
No, I don't know if it was totally stripped bare. And then I'll be honest, more than a year and a half after my marriage, after I split, I was in another relationship with someone who's living here. And she added all her spices. And some of them were...
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. The spice cabinet, when I look at it, I think about these past relationships.
That's the amazing thing about spice cabinets. It's like, as I'm going through yours, they're like a lot of them are associated very specifically with friends and former lovers.
Yeah. I wonder how it is for folks. Do they eat the same foods, or did they go to a meal or a favorite restaurant and they realize, oh, I went there with so-and-so and I don't want to, because I'm telling you, I ate so much good food in this town, and I ate at like the finest restaurants in the Bay Area and across the country. But sometimes I think about these meals and it's like, I think I associate some of those flavors with a time and that relationship. They kind of like, you wanted to poke on a bruise. Some spices poke and some flavors will poke on a memory.
Ooh. Like which ones?
Like which spices, which flavors?
Yeah, do that for you.
In terms of spices, I have Ras Hal Anut in there, which is next to the hot spice, the other side. Yeah, warmer, colder.
Oh, I'm just picking every incorrect option.
Ras Hal Anut. Ras Hal Anut. Let's smell that one.
All right.
That was something the ex used quite a bit.
Oh, wow.
And it's amazing, fragrant, wonderful smelling spice.
That just smelling that, I feel like I ate a meal.
Also from the Oaktown Spice Shop.
Look at that, Oaktown. You just keep showing up.
In this town, it took me a minute to go out and eat again, just to have fresh experiences relative to eating a meal. And as I
Wait, fresh experiences as relating to a meal. That's so intense. Every time you ate.
Well, okay. So my world was restaurants for a long time. Owned and operated too. And also research and development, all over the Bay Area, the French Laundry, New York, New Orleans, LA, just like ate out a lot, When my marriage split up, I didn't feel like going right back out there. And, being in a restaurant triggers a lot of memories for me just because I have what's called restaurant eye, meaning I'm in a restaurant and I've gotten used to, over 8 years, noticing everything that's happening in a restaurant, from who's coming through the door to what are the cleanable surfaces, what are the 3 points of light? Do they have 3 points of light? What point of sale system are they using? Like all these things, my mind was really spinning every time I'd go into a restaurant. I got used to that, and then I couldn't stop it. It's been a slow re-entry for me to eat out and just enjoy going to a restaurant.
That's so interesting because for me in breakups, the place to go was out to eat.
Out to eat.
It's like comfort food time. But then if your comfort foods are reminding you of a horrible time.
Yeah. I even say I'd probably still enjoy my ex's food, but I think it's just too painful. Like everything else that goes with it. Even though she's a tremendous, the flavors she introduced me to were tremendous.
Yes.
And actually I was with you, Zahra, in my car one night, just months after the breakup, because you were going to help me with the show. And we were in the car talking about it. And then I said, I said to you, I just realized I'm never going to have that food again. And we started laughing. Do you remember that?
I do. And I was like, man, it was so good. Okay, so do you have any advice for folks who are going through a major breakup?
Yeah.
And have these points of but memory, these memory joggers that are so physical.
Yes.
Does it quarantine yourself for 3 months? What do you do?
The only thing I can think of is the advice that I give myself all the time now, which is hard to do, of just populate your schedule and network with new things to do to displace the old memories. Distraction.
Is there a spice that you just can't do anymore?
My kryptonite?
Yeah.
I haven't come across it. I think if I remember the smells of the dishes of the restaurant that I was in every day for 7.5 years, so well that I know I don't think I want to go near those. I still feel like I don't really need to smell those smells because they take me back. I don't know if I don't know if I'm making any sense.
Totally. Well,
Yeah.
it's interesting because for me, that happens for me with comedy. In like 2009, I had a major breakup with comedy, and I couldn't watch anything funny.
Yeah.
And I was just like devastated because I couldn't watch anything funny. And when the clock hit 5
Yes.
p.m., I was used to being on my way to the open mic.
Yeah.
And it added to my depression that I was at home and not like out gigging.
Yeah.
And so I had to find ways to distract myself, which was just like Food Network.
Yeah.
Till 10 p.m.
I'm jealous of everyone I know who gets so like it's like a guilty pleasure. They wrap themselves in a cozy blanket of reality food TV, and I could never watch that because it hit too close to home.
So that's really fascinating at the same time because you have now taken this thing that was your kryptonite, which is just like any spice that just like immediately takes you back. Pretty much all spices,
Yeah.
right?
Get it, Zahra, get it.
But then now, like how you have found a way to find the new joy because you're doing this podcast
Yes.
with the new friends,
Yes.
with your new love performance. And like it's like rebuilding and redefining, and
It did feel like a moment of like, fuck this, I'm going to do this. And that's how it's felt with rebuilding this kitchen and rebuilding my spices and deciding like I'm entitled to I have a good palate and I can cook and I can do things and I don't have to just avoid things because there was like this bad psychic energy attached to all these foods, and it's like I have reclaimed some stuff. I mean, time has gone by and I feel like feeling at ease with everything that's happening with my life right now, except for this red stovetop that's right next to it. I'm just saying that because that's the one thing, actually, that there's a red, very fancy commercial professional stove here in this kitchen, which was the choice of the ex-wife. So it's hard. This is one thing. It's hard not to see that and think of like, oh, I know where that came from. I know why that stove is here. Everything else feels very fine.
so what would you say are like your now Phil Surkis spices? Your go-tos? Because I see a lot of...
Okay, check this out.
Yeah? Go for it.
Salt and pepper.
Are you being like hipster ironic? What are you doing here?
No, well, I've got to tell you,
Is this like
salt
a back
and
to
pepper.
basics?
If you ask any chef, if like they only had a couple spices to work with, salt and pepper.
Really?
It's like the secret to so many things. If you want like the best, like if you want the best ribeye in the world, like you're really only talking about just the right amount of salt and pepper is key. So I make a lot of breakfast. I make eggs, salt and pepper. I always liked rosemary, and I like that like long before my marriage. That's always mine.
Rosemary is like a big deviation from barbecue too, because you got the smoked paprika, the Jamaican allspice, the russet.
But I don't do like not a whole lot of cooking. I have a grill. I'm like a dude. All right, I'm a dude. Got a grill. I'm gonna grill some meat. I'm gonna grill some bird, some chicken, and what do? And I make some breakfast. I make omelets and I make scrambles. And I'm not doing like a whole lot of... You've had my famous egg taco.
Oh my God. I was able to recreate that in my new apartment in LA.
That's awesome.
Because I was like feeling so isolated myself. And then I was like, I need a little comfort. This reminds me of my friend, Phil.
Yay.
And it like, because, I would come over here, we would write, we would talk. And like, so, okay, these smells together, I'm like, is Phil here? Like,
Wow.
if it's,
see?
yeah, like, so the Miss Myers lemon verbena.
Yeah.
And the smell of coconut oil and eggs and sharp cheddar and corn taco and coffee and distressed woods. And I'm like, is Phil here? Is Phil here? Okay, tell us your egg taco method, because the way you make eggs changed my life.
Oh my God. I don't know how I make it. I kind of feel it. I'm one of those people who can't really describe it.
One of those people.
I just like, something takes over.
I believe there's half and half involved.
There's half and half involved. I whisk, a little salt, a little half and half, and
the whisking. That was the other
whisking.
thing. I had to go get a
Coconut
different
oil.
whisk.
I should have set up a stand here in West Oakland.
You'd make a lot of money that way.
I could.
Because here, I think
I
rule...
might put another restaurant out of business.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Oh, my gosh. I've never mentioned this, but, my friends know that every once in a while, a little bit of, like, what I call divorce vomit leaks out here and there. Whether I keep it in the podcast, I don't know.
What's divorce vomit? I'm
so aware. There's something in me because I have, like, unresolved, like, anger over that, parts of me have grieved, parts of me have moved on, and parts of me are still angry over, past relationships in my marriage. So, like, there's a part of me that's very aware when something shifts in me and I'm starting to talk about something almost like a compulsion, like anger is trying to get out, and I mention something that's like a jab or something. And it's just like, I'm aware of it because, there's always, I feel like with emotions, like there's your emotional self, and then there's probably like a little pragmatic self over your right or left shoulder going, what are you doing? Something like that.
You have an anger police.
I do. I start to say something and then it's like, stop that.
Aw.
That's not the high road. But I have friends who are like, you could probably say a whole lot more, Phil, if we never hear you say anything.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Yeah.
I don't know that I would pull the anger police out on
so,
you.
like, then that is just me saying, like, I don't know how to deal with my anger just yet. Maybe I need to make a mean stew.
Ooh, what would that entail?
All those multi-spices. I'm calling them multi-spice.
Oh, I kind of want to have that bonfire party now.
Oh.
Just like boil water and throw them all in there.
See what's in there.
Well, you also have like a very organized cabinet.
Oh my God.
It's very organized.
Well.
Potatoes at the bottom, snacks, then pickles and cans, and then spices, and then oils and vinegars.
My kitchen, it's very clean. My spice cabinet's a little messy.
And again, I'm going to say it's the objective eye here. It is pristine. And Phil calls it messy.
'Cause I'm a Virgo.
Thanks for having me, Phil.
Thanks for having me, Zahra.
This has been really fun.
It's been great.
For those of you who are listening, you can check out my podcast, Good Muslim, Bad Muslim, on iTunes, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast app.
Write a review for Good Muslim, Bad Muslim. Write a review for Spice Cabinet. Anytime you listen to a Spice Cabinet, write a review. It can be the same review. You can just cut and paste it and put it in a new name. But if you want to keep hearing podcasts, write a review.
Spice Cabinet is an excellent podcast.
Thank you.
I'm really loving it.
And this was coming to you live from Earthquake Central.
Oh boy, I missed it by a day.
I didn't.